Welcome back to the ZeroW Podcast, where we talk about lifting, coaching, and more. You can learn more about Zero by going to www.zero.com.au. That's Zero with a W. We are also proudly sponsored by Establishment Coffee. Head to establishmentcoffee.com.au. Use the code 025 for 25% off and free shipping. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's what all the cool kids say. And if you're on Spotify, hit that 5-star review. We love it. Enjoy the show now. All right, James, kick her off.
All right. Welcome back to the ZeroW Podcast.
Oh, CJ, can you put the teleprompter on?
Yeah, it's not on.
On loud.
There we go. Welcome back to the ZeroW Podcast. I'm here with Thomas, Bridget, and Meg. Oh, it's Daniel. All right. There is no teleprompter. Just
Was that like an inside joke?
nah.
Oh, that was so shit.
This is the first thing I've ever...
I don't know. I've never done the intro.
Well, that's the hardest I've ever seen you laugh, so it can't be that shit.
Yeah, you liked it, bro. Humor comes in all different shapes and sizes, man.
Welcome back, Daniel.
Fuck. It's good to be back. This chair feels very, very dented in, very empty from where the big man's been sitting last week. Was that the week before?
It was last week.
Oh,
That was last week. The chair didn't. The rest. Nice.
Good. All right. Well, as you know, what are we grateful for? Bridget?
I'm grateful that we can bring Poots to work. We've been trying to leave him home more, but it's nice to know that we can bring him in if he's feeling neglected. It's
Yeah, nice.
very hard walking out the door with him staring at me.
Why have you been trying to leave him at home more?
Just because he's distracting here sometimes. We need to focus, and he barks. He's very cute, though, and the members love him.
I've received several formal complaints.
Have you?
Yeah, most of them are from me.
Well, you're the ops, bro. He's bit you.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Got beef.
Oh, man.
James, what are you grateful for?
Fuck the cooler weather. Very nice. It's nice to bring a hoodie to work in the morning.
Yes.
Mm.
I love it.
Daniel, what you got?
I'm grateful for my girlfriend, Rochelle. Wife, Rochelle?
Wife.
Girlfriend. Girlfriend, Rochelle. I've got a
that,
wife,
CJ.
Rochelle, and a girlfriend, Rochelle. No, she's been like, we've been doing all the APL work this year and last year or whatever. She's been really helpful. Yeah, it's been a lot of late nights and all that sort of stuff, and it's been really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I'm kind of stealing yours, but I had already thought of this, Bridget. Not Poods, but Buddy. Grateful for Buddy. He's a bit under the weather at the moment. He's a bit sick.
Man,
So it just puts it in perspective sometimes.
when dogs are sick, it's the worst.
Mhm.
Yeah. He looks at you so sad.
And their personality changes
It
so much.
does.
It's
Yeah.
like, bro, get up when I get home. Be excited. And they're just sad.
But it's a new level of like heart wrenching as they get older as well. Because you're like, when they're young and they're sick, it's like, oh, they're sick, they'll be fine, they'll bounce back, they always do. But now it's like, oh, Buddy's sick. It's just like this. I think he'll be fine. Well, he will be fine. But there's just that like slight inner panic.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
We're all very much dog people. How's Cardi, Daniel?
Yeah, she's good. She's cruising along. Yeah.
Eating any more rocks or anything?
Yeah, she's
That
about
she
due
shouldn't be.
for a 6-monthly surgery.
Yeah.
The world's most expensive dog.
If anyone's watching this, they don't have pet insurance, get it. Yeah.
Wait, Tom, bro, do you still have pet insurance?
I've never had it.
It's too expensive now that Pooch is older. Well, you
Oh,
can't
really?
get it now.
I haven't even looked into it. Yeah.
Oh. I used to have it, and it was like something ridiculous. Like this was years ago through Woolworths. It was like $12 a week or something.
Oh, wow.
How much?
$12 a week.
How much is it?
Oh, us is probably like, I don't know, somewhere maybe like between $50 to $100 a month.
Have your premiums gone up because you've used it a few times, or is it the same?
I'm not too sure. We have a high excess, which brings the premiums down so that we only use it in case of emergencies. But
Which
I mean,
is
it's
every-
probably saved us like $10,000.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I was always like, the money I'd spend on it won't add up to, because Buddy never goes to the vet, and then he had like 12 surgeries in a row.
Fuck
Had
that.
had his knees done, and I'm like, oh, this would have been easier with pet insurance.
Yeah, it's brutal. I remember the first time we had to use it, it was like she ate a rock, vomited it up, and we took her in, and it was like $3,000 or $2,000. I don't remember the cost was. And we went to the thing, and they're like, ooh, it's actually being rejected because there's a 30-day waiting period when you first get it, and it's been 29 days.
You ended up winning that one though, right?
Nope.
Oh,
She-
really?
No.
That's so lame.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh well, these things happen.
quotes. What do you got, James?
Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today's a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Nice.
That's just a Google quote.
Nice.
First thing that came up,
Man.
May 16th.
Nice. Bridget.
Love yourself instead of loving the idea of other people loving you.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
There's a quote spray painted on the wall near my house. It says, "An egg will never accept the truth." I think it used to say ego, but somebody changed it a second. It's to a G. I think about that every day.
Nice.
Is it graffiti? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
Thugs.
No, they're allowed to. There's like graffiti walls near our place.
Uh,
But now the whole place just looks so disgusting.
Where do you
'cause
live,
it's
Mount Griffin?
everywhere. Stones Corner.
Stones Corner. What's the address?
147 Lumley Street.
go there with a full wallet.
Yeah.
Mine is the devil doesn't have to chase you if he can convince you to stop walking.
Sheesh.
Damn.
Don't get
How does he catch you to tell you that?
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the mysteries. It's the devil.
All right, before we get into whatever the presidents of APL wants to talk about, what have you guys been up to? Tom, bro, you've been home for a couple of weeks. What's the go there? Have you been home for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, but I'm going away next week.
Where to?
Adelaide.
Adelaide. What are you going to
Yeah.
Adelaide for?
Just to hang out. I was telling Daniel this morning, like, both of us pretty much haven't had a weekend off powerlifting since last year. So it's just going to Adelaide, going to catch up with Sam down there, hang out with
Hang
Meg
out with more powerlifting guys?
No. I don't even know if I'll train. I'm only going for like a day and a half.
Wait, is that where Sam is now? Adelaide?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was in Sydney.
No. He's in Adelaide, so we'll catch up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad.
So I'm around.
What are you doing, Daniel?
This weekend or in life?
Just in general.
This weekend, I just don't want to do anything. Yeah.
Nice.
Super keen to not do anything. Just work. Honestly, like the last weeks has just been really, really work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hectic.
Yeah. I wish I had something more fun to say, but no.
Mm.
No. So hopefully get some time off in the next month.
Yeah, nice. Bridget,
I haven't been doing anything.
nothing exciting?
Nothing exciting. I'm going away next week.
Mm-hmm.
Going home to see my grandpa. He's turning 90.
Whoa. What a
The
legend.
whole family's going to be there. I can't wait.
Is he still on his feet? Is
Yeah.
he still independent?
Yep, very.
That's cool.
They own like a property outside Toowoomba. They've got a few acres out there. He does the whole gardens himself. Him and my grandma.
Wait, so you going to at that place or you going to?
No, we're all going out to Mungandai.
Does
To my auntie's property.
Does he drive?
Yes.
So is he driving himself out there?
No, my cousin's going to pick them up and take them, and then I'm going to bring them home.
Yeah, far out. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I bought him a new Akubra. It's real nice.
Real nice.
Yeah.
It's like Kingston's grandmother lives on the Sunshine Coast. He'll be like, I'm going to visit my grandma. You'd be like, how old's your grandma? And he's like 102.
That's
Really?
crazy.
Yeah, and she's still independent. Lives by
Yeah.
herself. Goes for
Yeah.
walks. It's pretty crazy.
That's like my granny. Me and Bridget was here in Scotland. She's 92. She'll be 93 then. And yeah, still
Yeah,
really independent.
wow.
Wild.
Mm.
Can you
Crazy.
understand her?
Yeah. She's got the little
She
real...
talks so prim and proper.
Yeah, she's real, like...
Real
like-
posh.
You know, like when you think of like a real, like posh British person, like sipping tea, that's what she sounds like.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's so random.
Nice. What about you? What have you been up to?
Nothing at all. I don't think. I always say nothing, but yeah.
Doing lots of jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah, I got a comp next month, so I'm doing that.
Jitson, where's your comp?
Here, the one that you came to last year.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
That one's come around again.
Can I come again, or am I the curse?
Nah, come again, bro. I'll do better this year.
What's the date of it?
June 21st, 22nd.
I'll try.
Yeah.
The-
bro.
The birthday party is June 20th in Mackay.
Oh.
But we'll come back on the 21st. So
Fuck that, bro.
no, I want to see it.
Oh
I
man.
want to see you win again.
Yeah. Very disappointing last year. Nah,
Yeah.
it'll be good. I'm excited. You know, it's I guess it's what you train for. So
Well, what's the lesson from last time that you're going to take into this one?
I've changed my mindset about competition.
From?
I'm always very aggressive and very angry and ready to fucking. I'm just too hyped up the whole time. So I'm just I've got a more relaxed approach and not take it so seriously and Put
Just
too much
be a
pressure
little
on
bit
yourself.
more patient.
Because you reckon that's what went wrong last time. You were just in a bit of a rush.
Yeah, well, I was like, first match, okay. In my head, I'd already I already played out how everything went. So I was like, sweet, I'm going to try sub this guy really fast. And then remember, I took him down, got around his passes. Like I did everything fine, and then he just caught me with a submission randomly, and then tore my shoulder. Yeah, it was sick.
Do you feel like you're 100% coming into this one?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I just haven't really been. I don't know if you've probably noticed. I haven't really been lifting. So lifting hasn't been a priority lately. I want to get back into it properly again, but I haven't really lifted properly lately. So that's one thing. I've spent more time doing jiu-jitsu, but I know how important training is in the gym. So that part of preparation hasn't been very good, but otherwise it's been good for the most part.
Yeah, well, if you need help going through that omoplata, I showed you. I'm happy to go through that again anytime.
I thought you were about to hook me up with the training program.
What about? Well, I can. What about the boys that you're coaching? How they all going?
Oh yes,
leading into Worlds.
Good. So one of the boys, just for people listening, got some. Have I said it on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. But one of the boys hurt his shoulder in his Worlds prep, but he reckons it's fine now. So, well, yeah, he'll win Worlds.
They're like 2 weeks out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's flying out tomorrow and doing his camp at like one of the most prestigious gyms in the world. And they love him there.
Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where is Jiu-Jitsu Worlds?
California.
Oh yeah.
It's like in this big pyramid thing.
Do you know the pyramid? The blue pyramid? Not the pyramid we went to with the
Not
alligators.
the Bass Shop Pyramid. Nah, I don't think I do.
You know Benny and them stayed in that pyramid?
I saw that, yeah.
What? Is there a hotel in there?
Yeah. It's like 3 floors of fucking guns and a hotel and then some alligators.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
one of the
sick.
biggest pyramids in the world.
Why is it a pyramid? And why is it?
Why not?
It's so random.
All right.
I think it was originally a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, originally it was a tomb for the American pharaohs.
Was it?
No American pharaohs.
That's why I was like, bro.
It's made out of glass.
I was like, oh man.
All right. Anyway, we got the president of APL here with us, Daniel Carpenter. Welcome.
Yep.
Do you want to go through questions first, from your Instagram, or do you want us to just riff?
Riff. I think most of the questions that were asked on Instagram are going to be covered in this discussion, or by the time they see this podcast come out, they already have the answers to that too.
Mm-hmm.
When am I lifting? Those sort of days. I mean, the flight schedule is going to hopefully be out next week, so you're going to have all those answers.
Yeah.
Because by the time you see this podcast, the competition's already sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's good to start because like a lot of the inner workings of powerlifting don't really get shared.
Okay.
So people just go with the flow and they don't know why and how much stuff happens behind the scenes. So if you were to summarize how big of a job it's been getting ready with these expression of interest and then turning it into invites, what's it been like?
Yeah, okay. So, like, to be fully transparent, like, I've come on the podcast before. I never lie about anything I do, so be completely serious. At the start of last week, I had a full head of hair, and now it's all fallen out and I'm bald. It's just happened from work over the last week. That summarizes it for you.
Nice.
No.
So there's been a lot.
Yeah, it's been chaos. Like, it's just hard because every single year, everything just elevates. So, you know, when we kicked this off 3 years ago, 2022, I think was the first nationals we ran, you know, APL maybe had, I don't even know, make these numbers up, but like 400 lifters for the year sort of thing. Whereas now we've had 1,100 lifters in the last 3 months. So like last year we had 1,600 lifters. So every single year it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And as a response, we're making nationals bigger and bigger, but it's still just like we can't keep up with the growth. And then as a response from that is, you know, it sucks, but there's like lifters that might be like, hey, I've done nationals the last 2 years. Why aren't I invited this time? Like you've made them, like I haven't been invited this time, etc. And it's like, the unfortunate thing is that the caliber of lifter is getting insane, like crazy insane. And yeah, with that rise, you know, we're going to have to look at other avenues to be able to account for all this sort of stuff.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, go hard.
It's a fucking, it just really, it's a national level event. I think we've spoken about this a million times before. It's like, it's meant to be, majority of sports, a national level event is the best of the best.
It's meant to be hard to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where sometimes, I don't know, people think it's like just another competition they can do.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I can understand with a lot of people what they're saying is like when you look at a lot of other federations, there's like they might have multiple nationals. Like you've got a drug tested nationals and non-tested nationals, a Masters Juniors nationals, and that's going to be the route that we're going to have to look at again. I mean, we tried to do that this year, and then when we, like, if anyone remembers, we announced several different national events, and then that was the original plan for this year, and then everyone kind of, you know, it wasn't fair for the Masters and Juniors. They wanted to go and compete with their friends at the national level, so then we combined it all back in. But then as a response, it's like we can only have so many people. Like we, even as it is, like a bit of insight, you know, we received 881 expressions of interest from individual athletes. So, I mean, we received over like 1,100 expressions of interest, but once you get rid of all the double ups, you're left with 881. We even tried to get the competition extended, like add an extra day, but the venue's full and they said no. So, you know, we're still left with, leaves us with about 420 spots. And then, yeah, if you look at that number, 881, we need to cut it down to 420. That's less than half are going to get in. And that's just people that filled in expressions of interest. Like 1,600 competitors, it's going to be cut down to 4. 1 in 4 are going to get in.
Which is actually a huge amount of people for a nationals, because that's like a fifth of the federation.
Yeah.
Like if in something like jiu-jitsu, the nationals is going to be pretty big, but relative to the amount of people who are playing jiu-jitsu, it's tiny in terms of numbers, right? And so I think this is the hardest thing to wrap your head around with powerlifting, is because it's always been so niche. Everyone's quite used to an easy ride in getting international.
Yeah, there's other federations where I know that they're letting lifters into their nationals that haven't even qualified. It's like, not only do you now have to set a qualifying total, you don't even need to qualify.
Which is almost, I mean, it was where things were at with APL 5-6 years ago, like pre-COVID. Before you had it, it was just like pretty much a free-for-all because it was so small. And it's just as things grow, the standards get so high and it has to be a little bit more stringent. And like you said, it's like the caliber of lifting is crazy. And it is unfortunate. Like if you've always been near the top and then all of a sudden people are migrating or people are coming out of the woodwork, you know, the sport's growing, we're attracting just the bigger it gets, the more genetic outliers you get, the stronger people come in. I think of Jeremiah, the guy that's competed at Southside a few times.
Oh yeah.
He's almost like a weekend lifter kind of guy in terms of powerlifting. It's not like he's a long-term experience, and he's like at the top of the hundreds.
Yeah, he's crazy strong.
There's lots of people like that coming out across divisions, especially in like the lighter weight female divisions, right? Like the 75s and 67s is like some of the most hotly contested from what you were saying before.
Yeah, so that range, yeah. So I guess I know it's just to say something now. It's like at the end of the day, with the whole invitation process and people not getting in, we want to invite everyone. We want everyone to be there. We want to give everyone that opportunity, but we just physically can't. And you have to remember that's like every invite we give to someone takes that away from someone else. It's like somebody that, you know, and you know, people might have been training years for this, and yeah, it just sucks. But yeah, to circle back to what you're saying, yeah. So if you look at the women's weight classes, like 67, 75s, 82s, even the 90s now is like just the caliber of lifter getting in is insane. Like if you looked at it, I looked on Open Powerlifting the other day. I remember like 3 or 4 years ago when a female was deadlifting 200, it was like in the drug tested division, it was like 1 of 5 in the country. Like it was crazy. And then I looked at it the other day and it's like 40 of them or something like that. Like I don't remember the numbers. And that's in the drug test division. One argument could be drug tested powerlifting is now more accessible. APL is now, you know, can be accessible to everyone, whereas historically drug tested powerlifting maybe wasn't as popular as it was 5 years ago. Maybe that's where the rise came from. Maybe it's not too sure. But yeah, just that small number is just crazy difference.
I was even thinking of this at Nationals last year. Like watching my weight class, like that if I was to compete in powerlifting, watching the 82.5s. And I'm actually like 86 kilos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So 82 with a cut.
Yeah. Because that's where I'd want to compete if I did. But I was thinking, 2022, I was looking at how 2022 Nationals wrapped up. And if I had my dream performance, and it wasn't even an unreasonable ask. It would have been deadlifting 10 kilos more and squatting 10 kilos more than my best triple.
Yeah.
So I would have got like 660.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a huge ask. But back then, in 2022, that would have won Nationals. And I don't even know if that would qualify in sleeves. Like, do you know what I mean now?
Yeah.
In my weight class. Like, and I was untested as well. Back, like, I guess I'm still untested, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was fucking, yeah. So it's the quality of lifting and the level of the athletes have gotten so much higher. It's ridiculous just in 3 years.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'd love to see the same stat with 200 kilo benches in the tested division as well.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm seeing way more 200 kilo plus benches. And I remember like when I was coming up in powerlifting, if someone was benching 200 plus, you're like, whoa, everyone look at this. This is insane.
Mm.
And that's in untested powerlifting.
Well, can you remember when a 300, if you said you squatted 300, you used to be really strong.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
Now it's like if you squat 400, you're really strong. Because everybody, when I say everybody, like, you know, if you watch the hundreds, or 110s or whatever, everybody squats over 300 kilos kind of thing.
Yeah, and then you get to deadlifts and you got like Chris Thomas and Kale and all those guys just going ham.
Yeah, that are pulling 300 plus at under 100. And
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah. So 420 spots. Can you give anyone who's not familiar with APL an insight into like how many divisions that's actually split across?
Yep. So
You don't have to say the number. Like
no. Yeah. So let's just make, for ease of sake, for that 420, most of the discussion, let's frame it around drug tested side of APL. So for the most part, the drug tested side of APL Nationals is going to be bigger. There's 330 drug tested lifters being invited. So that's 90 untested lifters. And did we just cut the number at 90 untested lifters? No, it's the caliber of drug tested lifters is just so crazy high that some of these untested lifters are having trouble keeping up with the tested.
That's
That makes sense.
crazy.
So, so just talking about drug tested for a second, there's 12, I should know, there's 12 weight classes in the guys, there's 12 weight classes in the females. I think in the guys, there's people in all 11. I think the lowest weight class is like 56.
Yeah.
I think one was invited, but they didn't accept. So we're going to have 11 weight classes. For the females, 48's the lowest? 42? 44. Yeah. So we've got the same again. I think it's 11 weight classes. I don't think we have any 44 kilo females. How that number was decided of how many people we have in each weight class, it's like, all this was explained on the expression of the How to Qualify page. So if anybody wants to pull up the thing and say we've changed our minds or anything, it's not. It's the same information that's been valid to everyone since November of last year. Basically, it's going to work like a bell curve. So like your most popular weight classes seem to fall into the middle. So the way we've done it is we've invited people based on how many invites we received in their weight classes, and then we just looked at then when you get down, so that's the easy way to pick out all the best lifters to start. And then as you get down the line, you can start to compare lifters amongst weight classes. Like if I've got 125 kilo lifter totaling 500, but in the weight class below them, the lowest lift we invited totaled 600, then we're not going to invite the 125 kilo lifter who totaled 100 kilos less than the weight class below them. So that's where we're sort of, then a lot of people got cut out. That cut it down further. So in the end, the biggest weight classes are for the men, it's like the 90s, 100s, 110s. So there's 30, in all those weight classes, there's 30 drug tested raw competitors across each of those weight classes. And to give you insight, we received out of the 500 expressions of interest in the males we received, 300 of them were just in those 3 weight classes. So if anyone argues why there's that many in there, it's because it's literally like
there's more demand.
More demand.
Yeah.
And the more demand is demand. I don't know. I said it like you. I don't know why I said that.
I do
Demand.
it.
Yeah.
Too.
The demand was much higher in those weight classes, which yields a bigger invite rate.
Yeah, which is pretty standard practice in pretty much all powerlifting federations. Like if you watch IPF Worlds, there might be 3 or 4 93 kilo flights versus, the 120 plus. There's going to be a lot less lifters just by virtue of the fact that the bell curve is structured in that way. And it's like, yeah, it's a tricky one because you want to satisfy everyone, but you also need to uphold the highest standard possible, and you don't want token invites, right?
No, and it's not fair because imagine if you were a 110 kilo lifter and you totaled 600 and you missed out, and the 125 lifter totaled 500, same numbers as before, and the 125 kilo lifter totaled 500 and they got in. It's like you could have applied for the weight class above and then been accepted, but you missed out on that because that wasn't an option to you. Like it's not very fair.
just for clarification's sake, because I know people will be taking what you're just saying and rolling with it. As far as I'm aware, because for those who don't know, it's like Daniel was saying, Daniel and Rochelle have been putting this all together. So like I'm just asking questions. From what I understand, it doesn't work exactly like that. Like you're not just ranking all the totals and then inviting like the top 100 totals and then the next top 100, and regardless of weight class, right? There's actually some structure and strategy to ensure that weight classes are distributed evenly, and there's also consideration for masters and juniors, wraps and sleeves, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
it's actually a very complicated process.
Super complicated. If it gives you any insight, we spent about 12 hours looking at it on Sunday, and then again even further on Monday morning. So it wasn't just a quick like, we'll just invite that and then be done with it. Because like you said, then we have to have. So that was just discussing like open age, drug tested raw. But then we factor in McCulloch formula is applied to masters and juniors, which then gives you age adjusted totals. Everything's based on totals, and that's how we invited the masters and the juniors on there as well. So like once you add the McCulloch adjusted totals, some of the masters were then ranked number 1, like higher than the open lifters. Yeah. But same again, just because you are like, we got a lot of messages. We received a lot of emails from people that might say like, hey, I'm ranked number 1 in my, if I go sort by every division, like I'm in the 100 kilo men's raw masters 60 to 62, whittle it down, I'm ranked number 1 for sure. That's awesome. That's really, really good. Like I love it. Love the passion for the sport, but it doesn't automatically grant you an invite just because you're number 1 in that division. Like we need to compare. There needs to be a system where you can compare that lifter I just discussed that's in the Masters 6 category or Masters 4 category that we can compare to the person in the Masters 2 category.
Here's a
because there's only a limited number of invites.
This is a random, but there's other sports that do it like this. So like you get points for competing more frequently, and you accumulate points. Is that something you could look at in the future? Like you accumulate points for competing more frequently, and it could go towards your application. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but then you end up with the people that aren't the best. You end up with the people that compete the most. And like our big philosophy of why we don't want people to like this is, I don't know, I could be wrong here, but this is why you don't have to do a local comp to then qualify to do states, to then qualify to do nationals. Like we don't want athletes to have to compete 3 or 4 times a year if they don't want to. Like if they're one of the best and they want to compete once a year and then do nationals, for sure.
I was more so meaning for the people down the back end, like do you know what I mean? People that are just on the brink of qualifying,
but then you would have the same thing where someone would be like, I didn't get invited. I'm the better lifter, but I didn't get invited because they wanted to do 6 comps.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm just trying to come up with more scenarios. It's actually such a fucked process.
Yeah, but I guess that's when we have points. Like we have totals, so you can compare lifters easily with totals. You can age adjust them straight away.
Yeah,
like the totals are black and white, and anybody can go and access. We're not going to release the rankings because it's all people's personal information, all that sort of stuff. But you can go on Open Powerlifting, and if you can go on Open Powerlifting, you can sort it, you can figure it out, and you can see, add McCulloch, do what you need to do. You can see the ranking, like where you're sort of ranked, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, James, because federations have definitely tried to do this, particularly the IPF. The IPF has always done kind of stuff like this. And if I was a federation that was collecting all the money from the entry fees or the majority of the money from the entry fees, I'd probably want to do that too. But it doesn't make sense. Powerlifting's a bit more of a meritocracy. It's like you get rewarded for being good at it. And like it's funny because like I think in terms of other hats that I wear, and as a coach, would I want lifters competing so frequently? Probably not.
Spending less time getting stronger.
Yeah,
1,000%.
Doesn't make a great deal of sense. I hear what you're saying though, like, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like Daniel said. There are totals already to measure how good someone stacks up.
This is coming from the guy that literally coaches the female lifter that competes every single day.
Yeah, it's only me.
Still wins every time.
Yeah, Lilley will be there. Shout out Lilley.
Yeah. How many people do you have at nationals?
I don't know. A few. Lilley's doing it. Chris Kennedy's doing it. Theo, Sue Fitzsimmons, Quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Asher. I'm not going to try and say them all. I'll forget. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, then, one of the things that people always get upset about as well is like wrapped lifters really cling to being wrapped lifters, and wrapped lifting is kind of getting overshadowed by sleeve lifting. How do you then compare wrapped and sleeve lifters to make sure you're getting divisions filled out, but also keeping things fair across the board?
I'll start by saying that when we had I don't even know what the numbers are, but these are just made up numbers. But let's say we received 400 drug tested male applications. Of that number, there was probably like 30 wrapped lifters.
So
Like it was
small.
like literally less than 10% of the applications for just for the males drug tested. Less than 10% of the applications were for wraps. Funnily enough, there was way more with females. Female wrapped, and especially in the lighter weight classes, was actually quite popular.
Was it the same sort of ratios in the untested, or were there more wrapped people doing untested?
More wrapped people doing untested. Yeah. I mean, you're going to probably figure this out by the time this podcast comes out, but there's only been 10 invites to wrapped males.
I was going to say, what does the landscape look like for wrapped powerlifting in APL? Like, has the decline been pretty significant over the years?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's apparent with this sort of stuff, but it's not something. I mean, a lot of people then blame the federation, like we're trying to force people away from wraps. But again, it's just like the national invites. We don't force people into weight classes. We don't force people into equipment. The people choose what they want to do. And if wraps is dying, the lifters are making that choice. You know, you look at powerlifting 20 years ago, I'm sure it was all.
Who the fuck
multiply.
wants to go to a nationals and you're versing two people or one person? Like, I feel like obviously it's different if you've competed in wraps and you've never done sleeves. Yeah, that's fine. But it's like, if you're like a good power lifter, I'm assuming everyone that's competing national should be able to squat in sleeves to a relatively high level. Wouldn't you just go the sleeves route then?
Some people like wraps.
Yeah.
But what you just said sounds really fair. You just said there were 30 applicants in the male wrapped tested, and you invited 10. Was that right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a third of that group. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, to be
So
fair.
like you're in the top third, which is a huge proportion, and it probably marries up similar to what happened in sleeve divisions with masters with juniors relative to like the total amount of like how many people. What was the biggest class? Was it hundreds or 110s? 90s?
that we received invites for.
Yeah.
Male 90s raw,
How many was that?
120,
Yeah,
And how many ended up getting invited, if you know?
30. Oh, that 120 was between raw and wraps. And again, the wrapped, how many of them were there really in there? Probably not that many.
Yeah.
But we invited 30 drug tested raw males. I know that much. And the wraps probably like 3.
Well, that's probably even less in comparison to the wrap. So there's more wrapped lifters comparative than that particular class.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard because as the lifter that gets, potentially missed out by a few spots, you feel like it's unfair. But when you look at the bigger picture, it's literally the most fair that it could be.
Yeah, like if you're a wrapped lifter and you go to open powerlifting, you go sort by total, sort by your weight class, sort by raw and wraps, and see where you end up on that scale, then that's where you kind of ending up. Now, if I'll be completely honest, like if we're getting down to like the third round invites and you've got a sleeve lifter and a raw lifter and there's 2.5 kilos between them and the wrap lifter out totals the raw lifter by 2.5 kilos, the invite's probably likely going to go to the raw lifter. If you're talking like a 280 squat, or, so let's say they're totaling around 600, they're probably getting more than 2.5 kilos out of their wraps. So the lift in those sort of like sticky situations, yeah, the invite's going to go to the raw lifter.
And by the third round, really, you're just filling up the lower spots in those weight classes anyway.
Exactly. So by the end of the second or the third rounds, it's like we've got, like I said before, like if there's 29 lifters have accepted in the male drug-tested raw division, we're going to invite one more drug-tested raw male because we need to get that number to 30 so you can have 2 flights of 15. Like when you get to those real nitty-gritty, who do we invite at the end of the day, like that, like the real, like the 1% of the invites, it's going to come down to how do we need to fill these weight classes out. But again, we're still not going to go back on our principles of being like, if your total is just quite significantly under a weight class before you or under everybody else, you're not going to receive an invite just to fill out that weight class. We'll still staying true to that.
Yep.
This is random. This is off topic a little bit. Do you reckon those knee sleeves of like the super sleeves is the reason why reps have slowly been declining?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'd say it's part of it.
Yeah.
But I'd say the main thing is like, the brain drain. Like there's less people that know how to use them, but it's just more complicated.
Yeah.
There's more shit to learn and carry around and buy.
Now that I think about it, bro, I can't remember the last time. I feel like I used to be wrapping knees like constantly.
Yeah.
And then even in the gym, even at competitions, like Tom, bro, I think it's been like 2 years where eventually my arms would get so fried, like, Tom, bro, you need to help me with these guys' last attempts. I don't remember the last time I've wrapped a knee in a competition.
Yeah, Worlds, when IPL Worlds was in Australia, I remember one night I wrapped 120 pairs of knees. It was fucked. I was literally laying on the floor, like holding my arms like this, because I think, well, like you said before, I think the stiff knee sleeve definitely makes a difference. But I know me as a coach is like, lifters, there's so many times that I'd say to a lifter, you know, lifters would come in and they'd be like, oh, are you going to squat today? And like, oh, whoever is here isn't to wrap my knees. And be like,
My wrapper's not here.
yeah, my wrapper's not here. Okay, wrap your own knees. Oh, I'm wrap my own knees. And you're like, okay, cool. And then as a coach, it's like, if you're going to keep doing wraps, you're relying on me every single session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the lifter is then relying on someone else. It just got to a point where then coaches were like, well, I don't have the time to be wrapping this person every single week for an hour and a half, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Mondays are going to be fun again. Because I'm peaking and I'm going to chuck on wraps. And then Chris Kennedy's coming to squat with the boys in wraps. And then Rido as well. And then Sue.
Damn.
It's going to be great Monday nights for my arms.
Fuck. And Rado's a diva when it comes to wraps as well.
Well, he wears those really stiff ones.
They're the
So
worst.
does Chris Kennedy.
Oh, Rido asked me to wrap his knees once, and I'm not even joking. He was sitting down, wrapped as hard as I could. I'm profusely sweating, and I'm like, is that all right? And he's like, not really. And I was like,
Remember that time?
It's okay, but
Next time, like, Toby had to hold him down. Everything I had,
Bro,
everything. Put my heart into it, and he's still like, it's not too
okay,
bad. I
but
was like,
Thomas is tighter, so
yeah.
We love you, Rido.
You
Rado's
nailed his
the
accent. No,
best.
Rado's the fucking
He's
man.
the best.
I'm just remember that
He's not
time.
hurt.
Remember that time? I was going off, but in a jokey way. Because remember, I asked him, I was like, "How tight?" He goes, "Just loose. It's just a warm up." So I did it loose, and then after he goes, "Yeah, that's just too loose." I was like, "Brother, what do you want?" And I was like, "You want it tight or you want it loose?" Like, yeah.
it's just those wraps. Like you have to crank the fuck out of them to get them anywhere near tight.
And they like cut your hand and stuff.
Yeah, Matt Rodwell used to always, after everyone, like the first one would be the tightest wrap I've ever done in my life. And they're like, yeah, bro, let's go tighter on the necks. I'm like, bro, I can't, I'm done.
No, you just do sales techniques. You're just like, yeah, that's way tighter. And they're like, yeah. Even if it's one revolution looser because your arms are cooked.
You've got a video on our YouTube channel on how to wrap knees.
Yeah.
If people want to check it out.
Yeah, just search how to wrap knees on the Zero channel. It'll pop up. Yeah, cool. Well, what about what about the overall structure of the comp? Do you have any inkling as to what's going to be when? Or is that like the next big job in terms of now the entries are sort of rolling in?
Yeah, that'll be the next big job. I mean, it was so hard because as we were sending out the invites, it was changing daily as well. It's like, we invite the best and all these, say these wrap lifters don't accept, then we have to then change it to raw or whatever the case is. So it's changed bit by bit. The predicament that we're in and we've been discussing, and it's going to melt my brain, is that wrap lifters are able to use a monolift. So because we're running two platforms side by side, let's say we've got 90 wrap lifters, that's going to be X amount of flights, 6 flights of wrap lifters. We can't have all the wrap lifters side by side. We can't mix flights of, we're not going to mix in the drug tested wrapped lifters with the drug tested raw lifters because the wrap lifters can use monolifts. So it's a separate division. They're scored separately. So we're not going to bring a whole bunch of monoliths down to the event. We're going to get just what we need.
It's so funny because that's you're talking about the logistics of like the comp or whatever, but the first thing where my brain goes is
how to get that monolift in there.
No, how many monolifts are we moving?
Yeah, in a perfect world, like let's say we had a perfect scenario, we'd bring a monolift on each platform and then we could run them side by side. But then we need to have 2 monos, so you need mono on each platform. Now we're going to need 6 monos in the warm up room to match. So we're going to cut 8 monos into the competition to cater for 40, 50 people.
Bro, moving a monolift 3 inches is impossible.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine like it's just just a nightmare.
Reese has cracked the code. Use mechanics dollies.
What's that?
Yeah.
You know, like moving dollies, like
Yeah.
just the square with wheels. The mechanics ones are like big, thick things of steel.
Oh, does Cooper Morgan have them?
No, they're from next door.
Oh,
They got a mechanic next door.
fuck, that's smart.
Yeah.
So yeah, the structure of the competition, flight schedule will be out next week, and then we'll know more. But that's the big thing that's holding us up at the moment. We really need to figure out is the whole equipment thing.
Do you think it's going to get big enough to do it in reverse? Because so some people might make the argument, why don't you just assign X amount of spots to X amount of weight classes across divisions? But that doesn't quite work because then it potentially becomes unfair for the reasons you were saying before. Like if you assign 10 spots to the 48 kilo female division and there only ends up being 10 lifters, then you might get a lifter that's like, brand new to powerlifting, totaling 200 kilos, showing up to national event, and then someone who's more experienced and has a bigger chance of doing well or winning misses out on a spot. Do you think it'll ever get to the point where you can do that sort of thing, or it's just take it comp by comp and keep it as fair as possible for now?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that it gets to a point where you could use qualifying totals. That'd be the cleanest way. But then again, we fall into the category of, is there going to be qualifying totals for raw, wraps, tested, untested, masters, juniors? The list goes on. And again, like what we're referencing before, is if we created qualifying totals, where do we get that number from? Historical competitions. Because if we use the historical competition of last year, those qualifying totals is like, is it then, okay, you've reached the qualifying total, entries go live on Monday, first in, best dressed. And because someone was, stuck at work or whatever the case is, and they couldn't buy their entry at bang on time, or their computer crashed, they don't now get to do nationals. It's hard.
Like it needs to get huge in order for that kind of system to work, right?
Yeah, if somebody has a better system or somebody has a better way, we are all ears. I'm more than happy to listen to it for sure. But yeah, don't just comment qualifying totals and then not give me an explanation.
So by the sounds of it, what you're doing right now is the fairest possible way for the lifters, because if you predetermine the comp, if you predetermine the days, like you're like Friday, there's going to be 90 lifters in this division in this category, then you have to fill it out. You have to follow through with that word, and then it potentially becomes unfair for the other days, right?
Yeah, correct. Like we referenced before, you might end up having a 90 kilo lifter that totals 700 that misses out, but meanwhile you've got a 120 kilo lifter that totals 400 and they're in there.
Yeah. So I guess that holds a light to when people are like, where's the schedule? What are the flights going to be? It can only be determined once the fair selection criteria has gone through, once people have entered, and then you can sort of put that information out. And fuck, you're doing it fast.
Yeah, like we'll have the flight schedule up next week.
You've filled out the comp in, 3-4 days?
Yeah,
5 days?
Yeah, so by the time people see this, the competition is sold out. 420 spots. We've sold out 417 at this time, and that's just on second round invites.
Damn.
So it'll be sold out, and by the time people watch this end of next week, the flights will be up anyway, right?
They should be, yeah.
Close
So
enough.
what days are nationals? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, 2 platforms side by side. And the platforms are going to be running simultaneously. Somebody asked if we're going to be... Someone asked how they're going to be running simultaneously. They're just going to run simultaneously. Like they're not going to... We have no room for error at this comp. There is not a minute to spare. It's not like we can just sit there for 30 seconds being like, oh, they've lifted over there. We can go now. And now platform's ready. The platforms are going to be ready as soon as they can.
Yeah.
And I mean, the space is huge. They're going to be far enough apart where it's not going to interfere.
Yeah, there'll be a tech table in between the two.
Yeah. Like, and it, I mean...
Will we have 2 tech tables running? Like, how's that going to work?
No.
Probably just one giant one, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a square.
And it's just going to have one MC announcing for both platforms.
It's going to be you.
Yeah, the lifter, I'll announce both lifters and the time has to be the same and
Yeah,
everything.
the green platform and the
If one
gold
lifter gets
platform.
3 white lights, this guy gets 3 white.
That's
Just
how it works, yeah.
Logistically, it's going to be so much
Yeah,
easier.
3 refs for the 2 platforms.
No, I was talking to Daniel about this the other day because like I've seen a lot of 2-platform comps and been to a lot of 2-platform comps, and they can work, but I've never owned one. Neither has Daniel, so it'll be interesting putting it together.
Yeah.
I got to referee with Daniel the other week, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did really well.
Thank you,
I
sir.
think.
Mm.
Yeah. I feel like the competition is going to be like, have you ever played the game Cooking Mama? Has anyone ever played that on like PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that?
Yeah.
No, it's
Is
like
that
one
like
of
where
those-
you cook together and you?
Yes, it's a 2-player game. If anyone wants to ruin their relationship,
Yeah.
you should play it. It'll come up at the top and it'll be like, there needs a little hamburger and you need to find the ingredients, and like 2 people have to go to the different kitchen and get it, and then you got to get the little hamburger patty and put it in the frying pan, and then you have to like wait for it to cook. Everything has to be done in an order. But if you go wrong, then the kitchen like catches on fire and stuff. It's really good. You should play it. Yeah.
Well, what I do in
But
my
that's
real
the comp's
life
gonna be like.
is I'll start cooking, and if I walk away for a minute, Bridget will be in there finishing the cooking. I'll cook you dinner, and then all of a sudden she's cooked the meal.
That's it, because your 1 minute is probably like an ADHD whirlwind. Get on the laptop and start researching BJJ stats from 1966.
Oh, man.
Oh, sweet. Well, we're kind of running out of time. Was there any decent questions in the Q&A?
Nothing that we haven't covered already,
So
I don't think.
I'm guessing most of the questions is about qualifying, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Qualifying, how the competition's running, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I guess we haven't really announced it. I guess for those who haven't seen, or if we haven't really dived into announcing it yet, we've got now powerlifting competitions running Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On the Saturday and Sunday, we've got strongman running an event. We've got arm wrestling running an event. And we've got weightlifting running an event as well. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty hectic little expo.
And is there a plan to sort of reach out to vendors? Can people get in contact with you about that sort of stuff?
Yeah, like we've got a few booth spaces still available. So if you're looking to get one, send us an email on email.
So 420 competitors plus 3 other sports.
Send us an email on email.
You're probably expecting a couple of thousand spectators over the weekend.
I hope
Like
so.
a lot of
Yeah.
people. That's a good opportunity for anyone who's wanting to get their brand out there and push a bit harder. There'll be a lot of people's eyes on it that are interested in strength sports.
Yeah, if you're interested in strength sports or anything with a barbell, it's going to be a fun expo.
Yeah, super
Like
cool.
just like, you know, when you see all those CrossFit events, like even if you're not into CrossFit, those things look fucking fun.
Yeah.
You should do the arm wrestling. You beat Colton.
Yeah, that's right. Tom, you believed that too.
I actually did. It was insane.
It was good.
So good.
Yeah, they're going to teach people how to arm wrestle on Sunday.
Oh, they're doing like a little...
Yeah, they're like, come and
Showcase
try it
them.
out.
Yeah, get all the
Worst
one
idea.
all the 140 kilo plus powerlifters to go do it.
Yeah,
There'll
all
be
the
so many broken
untested
arms.
Yeah,
males.
see how much rotation they can get.
Yeah, so many
RIP.
torn biceps there are.
Yeah.
See, it's kind of like a little strategy, and then Effectus Physio or Perform Well Physio will be like, oh, well, you're here. Here's my business card. See, you've got a torn bicep.
Perfect.
Shout out to Perform Well, sponsor of APL Nationals.
Let's go.
Okay.
Perfect. What about prize money? So, like, how much have you announced?
$30,000.
30K. Do you have any idea of how that's going to be split, or is that going to be similar to the categories and everything? You work out the fairest way to split it across based on how the categories are distributed.
It's very interesting. We announced it, and we had someone asking the questions and answers today. But besides that, I haven't had a single question asked of how the prize money is distributed. So if you're doing single ply males, I think 30K was going to the single ply male division.
Oh man, sign me up.
It's going to be another tricky one to work out. Obviously, I think when it comes to drug tested, one big thing that stands out to me is none of the prize money for the drug tested division will be lower than last year. I don't want to go backwards on that. So, which should be more than easy enough to achieve. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you
Circling
so.
back, we're talking about prize money.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Is that us?
IPF's bringing back stiff knee sleeves.
Yeah. Fuck, that lasted how long? A week?
Oh, joke.
Sleevegate.
Yeah, what the fuck?
2025.
What? But there's been so many people that have sold their sleeves in here. Like, not this gym in particular, but you always see people selling this sleeve, and they're selling them relatively cheap because they're not worth anything. They
Yeah.
weren't worth anything for about a week.
My favorite one is all the lifters that got on Instagram that
Go on
they're
about
like, just get stronger, just be better at squatting. I don't need these stiff knee sleeves. See you later. Just get better.
I've seen so
How-
many of them, and most of them are the most neurotic fucking crybabies I've ever seen
Watch
training
how,
in the gym.
watch how quick they throw a pair of those stiff knee sleeves back on,
Mm-hmm.
fucking
Or-
instantaneously.
A lot of them were also directly sponsored by SBD.
Yeah, well, that's a big one too.
Like, I'm gonna do that with Zero stuff.
Fucking A.
Like, so one of the sponsored lifters, get them to make a statement, but they're sponsored by Zero.
Oh, well, here we go. Just before Nationals starts, we'll ban these sleeves. But we've got this sleeve that you can buy
Yeah.
at the event.
Yeah, you actually have to wear
Yeah.
the sponsored
sleeves.
Zero soft
Yeah,
suit.
yeah. And then we'll reinstate the normal rule after Nationals.
Yep.
Like the
Yep.
day it finishes.
Easy.
Yeah, done.
All right. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Zero Podcast. If you want more information, head to our Instagram, Zero_weakness. Hit the link in the bio for all of our services and any information on upcoming workshops and events. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review so we can have a broader reach and answer more people's questions. Thank you once more.